Tray, train, train, tray, tray, train, New. Today's guest is someone who's reshaping culture. Today's guest is someone who's reshaping culture of wrestling. Today's guest is someone who's reshaping the culture of wrestling from the ground up. He's a father, a builder, an entrepreneur with a vision to make this sport more accessible for every kid in America. Growing up in tough circumstances, he knows firsthand what it feels like to go without. And instead of letting that hold him back, he turned it into a mission. In 2022, in 2022, he founded Matt Clash Wrestling, a company born of his son's gamer tag, B Money Beastin. And today, a little name has grown into a full-fledged wrestling brand. What started with one pair of affordable black and gold wrestling shoes has exploded into a movement. Multiple shoe waves, creating storytelling projects like Matt Clash Origins and a one-for-one donation model that's already put shoes on the feet of kids and clubs across the country. He's proving you don't need to be a world champ wrestler to make a world class impact on the sport. You just have to care enough to show, give back, and never quit. I'm fired up to have him here today to talk about his journey, his vision, and the future of wrestling. Please welcome to the show, founder of Matt Clash Wrestling, Jesse Drennen. Today's guest is someone who's reshaping the culture of wrestling from the ground up. He's a father, a builder, an entrepreneur with a vision to make this sport more accessible for every kid in America. Growing up in tough circumstances himself, he knows firsthand what it feels like to go without. And instead of letting that hold him back, he turned it into a mission. In 2022, he founded Mad Clash Wrestling, a company born out of his son's Xbox gamer tag, B Money Beastin. And today, that little name has grown into a full-fledged wrestling brand. What started with one pair of affordable black and gold wrestling shoes has exploded into a movement. Multiple shoe waves, creating storytelling projects like Mad Clash Origins and a one-for-one donation model that's already put shoes on the feet of kids and clubs across the country. He's proven you don't need to be a world champ wrestler to make a world class impact on the sport. You just have to care enough to show up, give back, and never quit. I'm fired to have him here. I'm fired up to have him here today to talk about his journey, his vision, and the future of wrestling. Please welcome to the show the founder of Matt Clash Wrestling, Jesse Drennen. There's man. Mhm. Hey Jesse, how you doing?
Dude, I ain't never had that much connectivity issue like ever, bro. Like I kept getting, I kept saying it was launched, and then it would like drop out, and then it'd say it's launched and it drop out. I don't know.
Yeah, the technology right when you need it, it always fails.
Oh, dude, I know. I like I said, I did 50 of these, and man, it was all. I had one that we recorded a whole episode, and it was awesome, right? And
Hmm.
I used StreamYard when I did it,
Okay.
and it's actually really good. It's like $20 a month, but it like edits everything for you and everything. So you might, if you're going to do
Oh,
this long term, that might be your goal. But like, it didn't record any of it. I
oh
was
man,
like, I just had an hour conversation with this lady, and then nothing happened. But let's go. I'm ready when you are, big dog.
awesome. I got a short introduction for you, just to like give everyone a chance to understand who you are as a person and that kind of thing. So if you don't
Okay.
mind, I'm gonna read that off, and then from there we'll get started.
All righty, brother.
Today's guest is someone who's reshaping the culture of wrestling from the ground up. He's a father, a builder, an entrepreneur with a vision to make this sport more accessible for every kid in America. Growing up in tough circumstances himself, he knows firsthand what it feels like to go without. And instead of letting that hold him back, he turned it into a mission. In 2022, he founded Matt Clash Wrestling, a company born out of his son's Xbox gamer tag. Be Money Beasting. And today, that little name has grown into a full fledged wrestling brand. What started with a couple pairs of affordable gold and black wrestling shoes has exploded into a movement, multiple shoe waves, creating storytelling projects like Matt Clash Origins, and a one-for-one donation model that has already put shoes on the feet of kids in clubs across the country. He's proven they don't have to be a world-class wrestler to have a world-class impact on the sport. You just have to care enough to show up, give back, and never quit. I'm fired to have him here today and talk about his journey, his vision, and the future of wrestling. Please welcome to the show the founder of Matt Clash Wrestling, Jesse. Jesse, how you doing?
What's up, man? That was quite the introduction. I think it was more than was warranted, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, just you've done so much for it now. I really appreciate it when you reached out on Instagram. Um, just everything you've been doing. Like I feel like we have a very similar mission, like you said. So I got super excited seeing I'm not the only one that's my going mad trying to fix the country problem.
I have this overall goal, like, and it's shifted a lot, right? From when, because before you can understand what we're doing now, you got to understand where it started. And man, the most honest answer I can give you is B Money Beastin was supposed to be like a streetwear brand,
Yeah,
and dude, um, the reason I started it was I've always been a 1099 contractor, and I've done like work for this person, whatever, and um, taxes suck, right? and my and my tax lady was like, "Hey, you need an LLC." I'm like, I just work and take my kid to wrestling practice and like football and stuff. And she's like, well, but I just said wrestling, I think that day. And she said, well, what can you do in that? And I'm like, I don't know. And I went home later that day after I did all this was like in January of 22, maybe. And in August, now that later that night, I found the post-it note where Bryson had written "B Money Beast" and or he had did it for his gamer tag on his Xbox, and I wrote it on a post-it note. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but it just sounds cool, and I still think it's cool. It had like the dollar sign and the apostrophe. And
yeah, just gamer
I
tag
wrote it.
fashion.
Yeah, dude, I was just like, this is really cool, and I had it in my wallet for like years, right? And I'm like,
Mhm.
that night I actually founded. I went through LegalZoom and founded like B Money Beast and Athletics LLC, right? Like that night for like 8 months, I had no idea what it was. All right, like
Mhm.
no idea. I was just like, well, I got an LLC, so I own something cool, but I had no idea what it was. Um, I'll tell you how it kind of started forming. I have a partner. I have two now, but I had one at the time, and I didn't have him yet. Um,
Okay.
Quantal Langford is my partner in my first partner. We have a minority partner now that does a lot of great things. His name's Ken Hammonds, and I'll get to him. But Quantal, I had known him, and we kind of knew of each other, but we weren't real tight or anything at the time.
Yeah,
And
acquaintances.
yeah, yeah, just because of wrestling, right? Like he's from Tennessee, but he lived in California. I lived in North Georgia, which is right there on that border. And so like we just kind of knew of each other, I believe, but we weren't like, close or anything. And but he had a teammate at UTC back in the day, Matt Pitts. He runs Grindhouse Wrestling in Chattanooga. And I've known Matt forever. He coached my son and stuff and growing up. And I was like, dude, I think I need some I asked Matt, I said, dude, I think I need some logos. And he's like, all right, call Quantal. And I had forgot all about the fact that Quantal is like maybe one of the best graphic artists in the United States, right? Like he's amazing, bro.
Holy
And
snap.
so I texted him. I was like, hey, man, I need some logos for whatever this is I'm trying to build. And he's like, well, what's your vision for it? I said, well, man, I think it's like a streetwear brand, like I don't know. And so he come up with these logos, and they were actually really unique for what it was gonna be, right? And
Mhm.
then I kind of went with that for a few months, and I'm like, And it was cool. I mean, I did some like stuff for different, like a church and a club and whatever. And it was cool, but it was like, this is not what this is, right? Like, so I'm still trying to figure out. And
Formal idea.
yeah, like it was a long way to just figure out what it's going to become. And then um, I kind of wanted to get into like, I was like, what if like there's a way we can produce wrestling shoes for the 8-week wrestler for low income kids?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that started kind of like swirling in my head. And I bought the gold ones. I wasn't crazy about them, but man, I'm telling you, they held up pretty well. and
They did what you needed.
I think we sold probably half of them, and I donated the other half to somebody and like
Mm-hmm.
different people and clubs and stuff. And then I was like, well, so this is what we are. We do wrestling shoes. Okay, this could be cool. And then in the second wave that we did were these black shoes. They were really clean actually, and we got such a good price on them. I actually sent last year. I sent 200 pair to beat the streets in Detroit to be
Nice.
distributed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was pretty cool. And I was like, and I asked you, I was like, man, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Do you want to like get in on this with me? And like, and he's like, yeah, dude, I think this is a really cool project. I was like, all right. And in the meantime of this, um, it's folk style season just ended, and freestyle started on Monday.
Okay.
So there's the reason I'm telling you this, right? There's a little quirk here and the timing of the character development, because that's what we're getting into, right? The characters.
Mm-hmm.
So my son, he wrestled the 14U or 12U, whatever it was that year, state tournament on Saturday. He was off Sunday, had practice Monday. Tuesday, he breaks his arm in practice.
Oh.
And during freestyle, some freak thing, he had the clip put in his elbow, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reason I remember it this way is because he had surgery like 8 days later. And I'm on my way taking him to have day surgery on his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
And Quantal sends me a text of a video of the creation of MB. Now, MB is the green character. That's a little blurry. I don't know if you'd say it. The green character.
Yeah, yeah. He's like the main guy.
Well, that's what we thought, but we're getting there. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay.
Um, he sent me this it was like this time lapse video, and it was him drawing, like hand drawing MB. And I was like, dude, this is cool, but what the hell do we do with it? Right? Like, I mean, he's cool. And we didn't know what his name was gonna be. And I was like, because at the time our company was B Money Beast Athletics LLC. So everything kind of
Mm-hmm.
had like a beast in kind of beast. And if you notice, like all the characters are kind of built with like beast kind of like,
Yeah, it's like a theme.
yeah. And and his wife, my partner's wife, said, "What about like we can call him Matt Beast, and then MB for short, so he's got like a cool name." And I was like, "I like that." So we started kind of promoting with MB, and we started putting up some apparel and stuff on the website, and then we kind of decided like, okay, shoe sales are kind of slow because that's a hard sell, man, hard market to get into, and
Mm-hmm.
but I had this like fixation that had to happen. And we made this white shoe. We called it the version 3. That was the last set of pair of shoes that we put out, which we want to get back into it at some point in the future. But it isn't what we are right now. And
Yeah.
but they had MB's face and his eyes, and it looked kind of sick looking on the heel, on like the side of the foot. And in the meantime of this, we came up with this BMB. You can see on that too, the BMB, the little graffiti logo at the top.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So I had come up with that, and I came up with that from I was working on something, and in the background, Fresh Prince was playing on repeat, and it was at that intro where Will Smith was signing like graffiti in the wall. Cop was like
Oh,
dick at him.
right at the beginning, he's like born in the days. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, man, that's it. E-Money Beastin', BNB. That's pretty cool, right? And so we come up with that little graffiti look and we put that on the back. And dude, I really liked them. Most kids did. I think I had like 15 pairs left here in storage, and I donated them to a local club that were left. We only did 100 pairs of those, so they were like really short just to try them out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, man, I don't like doing shoes. I'll be honest with you, dude. We do some gear and stuff for clubs and stuff. I don't
Mm-hmm.
love it. Like, I'm just being honest. I don't love it. Um, I do it because I know that I can do it for a better price point than most people will do it for. And I feel like that it's
It's
like
for the minimum.
well, I feel like, if you like larger brands, like you can't talk to anybody at Nike. You can't talk to anybody at, most of the time at Rudis. Like
Yeah.
I want us to be approachable in anything that we do. Like I want that to be a theme. And I feel like we're very on top of things. And just for a quick example, as I'm telling the story, we had a set of Mac Clash I mailed somewhere in West Virginia. This woman bought them, right? And she
Yeah.
sends an email in and she says, hey, it says delivered, but I don't have them. So I looked it up. I found the post office. I called the post office. Within an hour, they figured out they delivered it to the neighbor's house. They went back, got it, put it in her mailbox. And she was like, this is the best customer service I've ever had. And that's
Yeah.
what I
That's
want.
what I
Yeah. So, like, that's who we want to be, right? Compassionate, real people, not just, not just, it's not about, not everything's about money, right? Like, the
Mm-hmm.
world's going that direction. Like, if I have enough to live on and can just eat and survive, dude, I'll work on this forever. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
um,
Very much.
but we were kind of dabbling with ideas, and the way that Mac Clash became Mac Clash, man, I kept having this thought in my head that, like, because at the time we only had 5 characters. Now at this point we had 5 characters, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, this is like a Mortal Kombat, like maybe an exaggerated like folk style, like maybe it's a mobile app, maybe like what I don't know what it is. And we
Yeah.
were, yeah, it was kind of like it could be go a lot of directions. And I told Q, I was like, dude, we need to build an app. And he says, dude, kids spend too. Now it's funny that I'm saying this right now because we're actually building an app as we speak. All right. So I want to say this. It like I get it, but he says,
Yeah. Everything evolves.
yeah, this was hindsight, a couple of years ago. But he goes, dude, kids spend too much time on their phones as it is. And I was like, man, you're right. And I was like, what if it's a card game? And I don't know what
Ooh.
possessed, I don't know what possessed me to say that. And over about 6 months, I literally I built the card game rules and he designed the look and feel. And I would cut up like copy paper and I'd put like takedown, reversal, escape, near fall. And I had this weird issue with it that I couldn't figure out. And if it's a 1v1 game, you can't, I go, you go. It doesn't make sense to like be able to play multiple cards if it's a 1v1 game. So I was trying to figure out how to link from takedown to near fall. And I,
Yeah.
I
That guy.
and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, dude, what the? And maybe I was too close to it. And we were riding to practice one day, and my son's buddy, his name's Billy, good kid, man. He won state last year. He's a stud kid. I
Yeah.
love
Good
him.
job, man.
He was riding with us, and he said, dude, and I was telling him about trying to build this card game, and he says, man, I play Monopoly Go. You need a skip card. And I'm like, duh, okay, that makes sense. So we
Mm-hmm.
didn't create a skip card. We created what was called momentum.
Which
So
is awesome.
so you can play like really interesting, and it can be played multiple ways. But this can get us because I didn't want games to end too fast either. Now they can end quickly, but I didn't want them to end too fast. So
Mm-hmm.
now can play. Now it gave me opportunity to play takedown momentum, 2-point near fall, or reversal momentum, 4-point near fall, or, just to link those together. And I was like, okay, that's what was missing, because I had the game play. It was just missing that. So once I figured that out, okay, it's going to play right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Q, I think the issue we got now is we got to figure out what our card counts are. Like, what do we constantly have to make this play right? So then, of course, you're looking for manufacturers, right, to figure out how to manufacture your product. So as I'm talking to all these manufacturers over in China and Egypt and wherever, right? I had this. I asked this lady. I said, the sales lady. I said, look, I think we're building wrestling Pokemon here, which is essentially what I felt like it was. And she said, I said, what is like a base set? Like if you were just trying to play the game for like Pokemon. And she says 55 cards. I said, okay, so now I got a number that I can divvy through to make sense. And dude, I did like 19 different
Oh
like
my goodness.
variations trying to get it just right. And I was getting frustrated. And I ain't gonna lie, dude, I almost quit. Like I'd throw shit at the wall. I was like, man, this does not work. And I took like a day or two, and I was just like, all right, let's start over. And I cleared my head. And I don't know what it was. I think God did it, right? He came to me, he just put it in my brain. And he's like, all right, you need 9, 9, 9, 9, 2, 3, and going down the list of all the cards, And we
Mm-hmm.
had this goal that each wave, we're calling them waves, right? Have
Yeah.
specialty cards, so it makes them collectible later. So like
Yeah.
wave one's got the feet to back and the comeback card that we built. The feet to back's like a 7-point from neutral. You automatically get a 3-point takedown, 4-point near fall, and it's a pin card if they don't play a defense card in return. So they have to play a defense card or it's an automatic pin. And if they play a defense card, you can stack near fall points. So it can be up to like an 11-point swing. Like it's a big card, but it's only one in the
Yeah.
deck, right? And then there's the comeback card, which we've played games with Wave One where that happened, where it's like 7, I play a defense card, then now it's 11, I'm way behind, I play the comeback, it ties the match and puts me in top, right? So it like changes the dynamic of the game. And that's with Wave One. But we wanted to do that with every wave. Well, with Wave Two, when we put it out, we put 3 in there. We put a cut 'em card, which is similar to a momentum card, but it's like takedown, cut 'em, takedown. So you can, just like a match. And then we put a scramble card where they play a takedown, we play the scramble, we win the scramble, get the 3-point takedown, then a 2-point near fall. So like we've built this game out to really mimic like a folk style rule set.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like it could be a really cool teaching tool for young kids too. Like this is what you do here, this is what you do here, this is what you do here, So I think that could be cool. But to make this story short, and then I'll answer all your questions. I finally got the card count right. I said, dude, I think we got it. And I sent it over to him and he created the box design and everything. Within a week, we ordered them. And then I think last Christmas was our biggest pop for the company. I don't know where it came from, but one day I'm sitting there and cha-ching happened. And then it went cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching for like 9 straight days on MacClash. So it was awesome, dude. We get emails and stuff from grandmas and moms and like, hey, my kid loves this game and this is awesome. And I'm like, dude, I love to hear that. And we're working on, wave 3. We got the card count done. We hadn't designed it yet. We actually created a freestyle version too that I don't know that we're going to actually print. I think we're going to put it on the app at some point because the app's going to actually have a mobile version of Wave 1 to play. So I'm debating on us putting the freestyle. We've talked about it, the freestyle version as like an additional, because I think with freestyle, there's so many less kids that do it. I don't see the point in printing them like for physical cards, but I think it could be a cool little thing to play, But that's kind of
Hmm.
where we're at. And then we got approached about a possible series. I don't know if it's going to happen. I know that it could happen, and that's where all the storytelling really came from because we've always had this storyline for all these characters. We just didn't really know where to go with it. And that's really what I'm kind of focusing on now, like on social media and stuff, is just getting people to introduce to the characters and know that they're all relatable people, right? Like where you said MB was like the main guy, we felt that way. But dude, everybody loves JV, the little yellow character. Everybody loves him. He's like,
Everyone can relate to him.
yeah, dude, yeah, and like his backstory, like that backstory's 4 or 5 years old. Like he was 0-48 before he won a match. Like he faced all this adversity. And the thing is that I do believe if there is a series made on Matt Clash, the character arc of MB or JV is going to be the center of like that realm. And so in a way, like I feel like MB's still the guy, but like JV's taken over as like the more relatable character.
Hmm.
And that's cool, man, because we were all at one time, getting pinned and whatever. And
Yeah, we all took our lumps.
yeah, so like I feel like there's a relatability factor there. But in the easiest way I could put it, that's kind of where we're at. We did write a book. It's on Amazon, Matt Clash Origins Volume 1, gives backstories on 6 characters. We're working on a Volume 2. I don't know if I missed anything, but I'm just going to answer your questions now. But I gave you the biggest backstory of it as I could.
Honestly, that was great. That answers almost everything I wanted to know. Like, it's funny you say that it's like developing kind of like a Pokemon game because I used to be a really big Pokemon nerd, a little bit still as an adult, but I remember at some point in my life learning that Pikachu wasn't supposed to be the main character. It was actually supposed to be like these other ones right here, and then everyone just like kind of gravitated towards Pikachu, and now we know Pikachu. So it's funny you're saying that with JV. It's like everyone thought it was gonna be MB, but everyone's starting to gravitate over here to JV. So it's following like a great path.
Something that's crazy, man. Like, this is something I would have never thought. I don't know how long you followed us, but like I started putting up these like track profiles of the characters about a couple
Of
weeks
course.
ago. And I would like literally put where they're from in the story, like their record, what weight they wrestled, and I'd even change the rank and everything. And like for JVs, he's literally weight 106, 0-48, zero pins, zero text, zero nation. And I posted that, and I don't even think I put much except for hey, this is him. He kept working. It has been shared 1,744 times.
Goodness, dude. You
And
said
and
share
it's
it, not just like.
yeah, and it had 2,984 likes, 18 comments. Now it's got 41 or whatever that repost thing is. It's on Instagram. So it's like
Hmm.
you look at numbers on things that work and don't work. And dude, almost every time I talk about JV, it does well. Like people like that character. So it's like, okay, if that's the guy, that's the guy. Like um
Hmm.
he was really meant to be like a background kind of character in the storyline.
Yeah, he
And
never gave up.
dude, I think there's something to be said for that, right? Because man, there's been times even with this project, where it's like, do we keep going? Has this hit its wall? Like,
Hmm.
but I'm a firm believer. You know, like I said earlier, money's not everything, right? Now you need money to survive and whatever, but money's not everything. I feel like if you're passionate about something, regardless what it is, right, in your life, and just do it, man. Your life's too short, like you're gonna get old one day and all of us are gonna die, right? You got a short time on the earth. So like, if you're passionate about something and you believe in it, just do it. Like, who's stopping you? Just do it. And
Right.
kind of what I do, right? Like every morning I get up and I'm like, what's my other storyline narrative I want to push today? Or what can I say here? And just about every day I'll post something in the storyline realm. And I'm just trying to make people aware of these characters and who they are and where they'll become recognizable. Like that's my goal here right now. It's not about,
Hmm.
selling anything to anybody. If they want to buy Matt Clash, go ahead. I got them sitting right here. But when it comes to, I want the characters to be known where there's like a connection there. Cause like over time, I've had messages come in and there's like, this one guy be like, this one guy sent, this is like last week. He said, I put a thing on like the top of my Instagram. He said, which is your favorite character? And he responds, he says, I relate to JV because I went 4-25 my freshman year. I just started wrestling. And then he said, I like Shadow because he's like an anomaly, right? Because he is. There's only one card in our game right now that has Shadow on it. And he's like he's got abilities and things like that, right? So he's like an anomaly, and that's the word the kid used. And I was like, and I responded, I'm like, dude, you're smart, bro. That's a big word, you know, like good for
Yeah.
you. And then I had another lady. There's a little girl. I forget her track jujitsu something. I sent her a singlet. I actually got one right here. We have this character in our storyline named Collie. She's Coach the coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
That his daughter in the story. And I had these singlets made for dual teams that we have.
Oh
And
yeah, the
that
kids love that.
and dude, I don't, it was a coincidence. That little girl looks just like Collie, like looks just like sweet little kid, man. And
Hmm.
I told her mom, I said, hey, let me send her a singlet, and she'd love that. And she like we collaborate on stuff now. I'm like, I found the real life Collie here, you know, like so, dude, it's really cool in a way because it connects different people connect in different ways to different reasonings behind it. Um,
Hmm.
like I didn't think of this at the time. Like our like Scrap's one of our main characters, the orange character, right?
Hmm.
And he comes from a tough background, you know, things like that, you know. And when we were looking at our third character, I was like, I want a black Chucky from Rugrats. Is that? I know that sounds insane, but there's your inspiration for him.
Black
And
Chucky from.
Quantal's like, dude, what? I said, yes, I want a black Chucky from Rugrats. And that's where he came. That was his inspiration for him. And, you know, when I look at it now, like we grew up in Georgia, you know, Ryan Mills just won like a world championship, right? Like he's from Georgia. I've seen that kid since he was in third grade. And I look at Scrap and I'm like, maybe a rise like the real life Scrap. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's like, so, and I don't know, I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'm just throwing out scenarios. There's like every kid's going to have a way to connect if they want to the Matt Clash universe. And,
hmm.
you know, this storytelling and things isn't everybody's like bag, right? Not everybody's going to be into it. But I'll say this, man, I think that we could use the Matt Clash universe. We can use the card game. We can use the stories. We can use the colorfulness, the storytelling to bring young kids into wrestling clubs. And I feel like if you can bring kids into wrestling clubs and get them hooked on it, whether they're good at it or not, it doesn't matter. You know, wins and losses don't make a damn about anything. So
No.
if you get them in the room and they just like doing it, like being with their buddies, they're
Hmm.
less likely to be on the street doing drugs or stealing or dropping out of school. Like there's
Yeah.
so many positives to that, and that's what our main narrative is to get kids hooked onto something that's a cool concept that can put them on a path that can maybe potentially change their life. That's the bottom line.
Hmm. Let's just do better or get the world to do better.
Yeah, and the sport of wrestling, and I'll be blunt on here. I was blunt on my podcast. I was crazy blunt, dude. Go watch a couple of the B&B podcasts. I said some wild stuff. But man, the sport of wrestling's toxic, right? It always
Oh yeah.
has. And I'm a big fan, and I'll be the first to tell you, I literally have said this 100 times. I was really bad at wrestling, right? Like I was, like me personally, I was not good. Um,
Hmm.
I played football. I was an okay football player, but I was not a great wrestler. But I will say this, man. There's you don't have to be. It doesn't have to always be about what have you done for me lately, and
Mm-hmm.
that's essentially what the sport is, right? Nobody, you don't see Flo ever talking to the little kid that runs to practice every day because he don't have a ride, and you know he really doesn't have any family, and he's doing his best. He's wrestling in his socks because he don't have any shoes, and nobody talks about those scenarios, right?
Yeah.
They talk about hey, this one committed here, and this one did this, and this match happened 30 years ago. There needs to be more focus on because wrestling is not only toxic, it's expensive.
Yeah, ironically. Yes.
So the toxicity is if I go and win state last week, but then I go 0-2 at NHSCA, I just suck, right? There's your
Mm-hmm.
toxicity point. Or if I go to get third at NHSCA, but then I go to Super 32 and go 0-2, oh man, he was in his own grade. He sucks, right? I've heard all that forever. It's like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. You got like just imagine, right? All the kids that's wrestled Bo Bassett in the past like 5 years, and say there's been a few of them that kept it reasonably close, right? Does that
Yeah.
mean they suck? No,
No, dude.
they're hammers, man. Like don't just quit berating everybody. That's the issue I got, right? Quit berating it. So
Mm-hmm.
let's end the toxicity thing. Kids are gonna change over time too. Just because you're the best 10-year-old don't mean you're gonna be the best 18-year-old.
Yes.
You know what
Preach.
I'm saying?
Preach on that one.
And just because you're the best 18-year-old don't mean you're going to be the best 25-year-old when you're a senior in college, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're a wrestler. Whatever's going to happen in your story is going to happen, right? This comparison that, well, this kid, man, get over all. I hate that. So go in, work hard, learn things, improve yourself. Like all the rest of that's just noise. But then on the expense side, I don't know if this is true. I think I read something or I heard something about Rudis got sold. I don't know if that's true.
I didn't
Um,
hear it.
I don't know if it's true. I think I read an article somewhere, but I don't know if it was even an honest article. With that being said, you're seeing Rudis pop up. It would make sense if it's true because you're seeing them now in like Dick's and Academy and like they're everywhere now, right? Like Rudis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you take a kid that belongs to a single mother, okay, because or a single father. I was a single father for
Yeah.
years. You
Our
got
sport
one,
has.
and you say, okay, let's just make this up. In 2025, say they make $40,000 a year, right, on a base income.
Mm-hmm.
You got a kid that's a pretty good wrestler. Every 3 to 6 months, you probably need a pair of shoes. So that's 125, $150. AAU, USA memberships. Now you got travel, gear packages. You're paying $150 to $250 a month for training center or club or whatever. Then they want you to
Mm-hmm.
drive. You got to go to I'm just making this up. I remember one year we went to like 5 different states and like I don't know, dude. I was in debt, bro. I was in credit card debt.
Yeah, going
So
to all these camps and stuff. Yes, dude.
yeah, like so there's got to be a way to make it more accessible, right? Because you can go anywhere in any town, anywhere, play baseball, basketball, football, whatever. Like most of the time, the football programs, they'll give you all your equipment. You just got to buy cleats, and it's like $50 for the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why which I mean, football is like our national pastime for most Americans, right? But
Yeah,
in
but it's changing.
general, yeah, and I mean, baseball's kind of dying off, and the NBA's kind of dying off, but football, like their ratings are crazy compared, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's why so many kids play those predominantly three sports. And most of the time, baseball's kind of left out too because it's expensive, right? Travel and equipment and things like that. There's got to be a way, and I'm working. I've been thinking. I wreck my brain all the time. It's like I want to be able to help this movement, like it's part of this Mac Clash movement to
Mm-hmm.
make the sport more accessible. So like our first step in that, like now we have travel teams that we started. I forgot to add that when I was telling the story. I want to say it started last, what is this, August? So I want to say we started it in April. Okay, I want to say April. A guy named Brandon Bruner. Shout out Brandon Bruner. I love you, buddy. He was a three-time state champ at Baylor School in Chattanooga. I don't know if you know where that's at, but they're a big
Yeah,
private school.
Harmon's there. Yeah.
Yeah. And he went to I want to say North Dakota State for a year or something like that, and he came back. Well, anyway, he coaches. He was coaching a youth club up in Nashville area, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow we got to chatting. And he's like, "Man, like the youth travel circuit's not really here anymore." He's like, "We don't have, Team Minion was, which Minion's got a club and things now, and they do teams." But it's not
Mm-hmm.
that now that it's a training center, it's a little different because back in the day, it used to be a Georgia travel team, like just Georgia kids. And then of course they started branching off and picking up, the best kids and having an A team and B team and whatever. And then it got shut down for like a year, and then they reopened it as a training center at UT Chattanooga, and they do a great job. Um, but the travel team thing, where they used to do it like every week or every other week or whatever, it's just not the same. And and now I'll give them credit. They do pick the toughest ones to go to, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Um, with that being said, Brandon said, "Man, he goes, since they're not really doing it, and like the state associations only go to like freestyle national duels or whatever, right? It's like maybe we could try to build like a Mac Clash Southeast travel team. Would you want to do that?" I was like, "Yeah." So I said, "Dude, I don't want to go to all these. I've did all that." So like,
Yeah. Right.
and I said, he said, "I tell you what, you do the gear for it. I'll build the teams and I'll go." And I was like, "Cool." So the first one we went to, he actually took six teams, man. It was different age groups, 8U, 10U, 15U, and two girls teams. I think that was at five. I think there's five. To the bootleggers up in Gatlinburg. Our 8U team placed third in the gold pool.
Hey.
Our 10U team was in the silver pool. I think they placed fourth. The 15U team fell apart the week before. We had the whole team filled, and the coach that was bringing them all from down in Georgia, he backed out like the week of. So, so we only had 7 kids on our 15U team. But dude, they were keeping it close, man. I was proud of those kids, man. They were scrapping, and our girls got second in the gold pool with the bootleg. So I was like, dude, that was a pretty good little start, right? Like they all,
Yeah.
and how we did it was really cool too. Is I had this idea. I said we'll do gear packs with the registration, and they get a mystery secret. They don't know which character they're going to get.
Oh, that's fun.
So they all come out, and every kid's wearing a different character, and it looked like Comic Con, right? When the pictures of all these kids running around with all these like anime characters, right? And I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then Brandon just took let's see, the same 8U team. I think it was a K4 team down in Georgia. They did K4 there. The same team plus like one pickup down to
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. And they did they scrapped really well down in Atlanta at the backyard brawl. I don't remember what they placed. Then I sent a high school team and a girls' high school team to Deep South in Birmingham at the beginning of the month. Our boys' team actually lost like 3 really big hammers like within a few days beforehand. One got hurt at Fargo. Like I built a pretty good team. But we found some replacements. And dude, for a team that's literally all local kids here, they placed 11th out of 66 teams or whatever it was. And they made the gold pool. So that was cool. And the girls got second in freestyle and won folk style.
Ooh.
So that was cool, right? So we got this travel team thing going. And I think how that's going to work. You know, the season's coming up here in about a month and a half, like high school season, and then your youth season. So we feel like our season for that is going to be like April to like August. Like that's the max
Mhm.
season. Like we'll pick like 4, 5, 6 events, and they'll go to those. Um,
Mhm.
but this winter, Michael Keith, he was an All American at UTC. He's going to coach a Mac Clash club in Chattanooga for like K-8 kids. So
Mhm.
this is going to be our first like pass at trying to make it more affordable and attainable to everybody. Um, we're including a gear package and their AAU card for $200 for 3 months. So they don't have to buy their AAU card separate. They don't have to buy their gear package separate. It's all inclusive, right?
Mhm.
So and the gear, man's really actually you got to say. Let me grab this. I want you to see this, dude. It's pretty cool. I think we'll dig it.
Yeah, let me see it.
Hold on, I'm grabbing it. I have one left over from where I got samples. And dude, I think it turned out cool. And this will show you how awesome Quantal is too, man. He designs all our stuff. Bro, I thought this turned out really cool. Uh, let's see. It's a little blurry.
Yeah, it's blurry. I can see the matte clash on it.
Yeah, it's got the characters kind of faint in the background, but it's like a green and a black. It says Matt Clash Wrestling Club Chattanooga.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, but how what we're gonna do different is last year the guy at East Hamilton, the head coach at East Hamilton up Chattanooga, he did beginner scrimmages, and we were talking
Mhm.
about it. He only did a couple. I said, why don't we do beginner scrimmages every other Sunday until the beginner state tournament? So now parents aren't paying, $25 sitting in a gym for 8 hours to wrestle 2 matches.
Yeah.
Now we're going to try to get them like 4 to 5 matches within like a 2 to 3 hour span. And we're not going to charge them much. It'd be like $5 a head or something, right? And so we're going to
Yeah.
try that and just try to make it more attainable for everybody. And here's one thing that'll be different from us, from everybody else. And I'm not competing with other clubs. We're going to be a beginner club, right? That's what I want it to be.
Mhm.
Like Minion up in Chattanooga and Grindhouse, like, we trained up there. Bryson trains at those places. So like that's meant for the 5%ers, 10%ers. That's what that is, right? But nobody really wants like the beginner groups. And if they do, they're like not really structured the same way. You know what I mean? Like we want to
Yeah.
be a developmental type thing, right? Like, hey man, you're getting pretty good. You need to go here now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but one thing that'll be different, we won't ever turn anybody away. If they don't pay for their stuff, big whatever, like we'll never turn them away. So we're doing our small part to try to make it more accessible. And I feel like when the apps launch that we're working on, eventually I'd like to try to build like a network of Mac Clash wrestling clubs across the country that follow the model that we're trying to build. And I think that could make a huge impact, not only on the sport of wrestling, but it could also make a huge impact on a lot of kids. And
Definitely.
that's kind of more of the goal. And, but yeah, man, like we're throwing a lot of things at the wall and we're going to see which direction it keeps going.
Yeah, but you guys are doing so much, and you said it was just what? It's been 5 years at this point. You guys are already making a huge imprint. So
Uh, for a little over 4. We're pushing, I think we're pushing near 5. Man, I tell you, dude, nothing that you create. If you'd asked me when this thing started, hey man, are you going to create a card game? I'd be like, hell no, what are you talking about? Like, so like, there's it's, dude, I swear, I remember being in middle school and I played football and I'd never wrestled before. And the
Mhm.
wrestling coach was the linebackers coach, right? He said, man, you need to wrestle. Yeah, of course, right? And you need to wrestle. And I remember when I seen, like singlets, I'm like, dude, I ain't wearing that. Right. I remember thinking that. I was like, I ain't wearing that.
Yeah.
And now my thought process is completely different, right? It's like I hate the two pieces. Like
Mhm.
like takes away.
Yeah,
But like with that being said, I look back on myself as a kid, and if you looked at me, how old are you in sixth grade? Like 12. All right, so you like at 12 years old, hey, you're gonna grow up and like create like wrestling Pokemon. Hell no, dude. I'm going to the.
Right.
I probably told you I'm going to the NFL. I'm gonna marry Pamela Anderson or something, right? So it's like, so you know, it's funny how life kind of unfolds, especially with something
Mhm.
that I never thought I'd be so passionate about, something that I wasn't even very good at, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, I feel like my passion for it is more about how it can help others. And I really enjoy the storytelling aspect and the like the character building and the gameplay itself is actually pretty cool. I like playing the game. So it's like, okay, we're heading in a direction. I don't know where it goes. If I had my goal and I could tell you what I want to accomplish, this is what I would love to accomplish. And I've never
Hmm.
said this out loud. I would love to see. Here's one thing. This is like dream, right? Okay, so this is
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. Shooting for the stars.
Space Jam was a huge movie back in the 90s. Okay, hear me out. I would love a reboot of Space Jam with the Matt Clash characters,
Oh
where
my God.
where Spencer Lee loses all his accomplishments. All right, hear me out.
Yeah.
Scrap MB helped train him to get ready for this gauntlet he has to win to get him back. Right,
Hmm.
dude, I could see that being so cool. Right, like, and the reason I always use Spencer Lee in that realm is because he's a Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
And
dude, for sure. He played Pokemon as his theme song for his
right. And
walk-on.
if there's a character that would fit in that realm or a wrestler, a real life, it's him. So like I've always thought that. And then but the series, I would love to have a series that just kind of has all the characters, teaches their backstories where they're relatable to kids and maybe they connect. And then from the series, I'd love to have a series that off the series have action figures and video games and you know kids having posters on their walls, right? Like,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And that's kind of what I would love to see because if it, I don't see anybody else trying to build something like that in the sport of wrestling.
Hmm.
Like
No.
they want to build, they want to sell you shoes and they want to sell you singlets and they want to sell you mats and whatever. But until someone like a group like us comes in and makes it cool and brought to the forefront where there's substance to it, right?
Yeah.
When when you watch football, like and I'm a big football guy. You watch football. If you watch an NFL game, you're like, hey, that rookie tight end. I remember watching him at Minnesota last year, and I remember an interview. I'm just making this up. An interview,
Yeah.
man. His dad died or something, dude, and he was having a hard time, and he missed a year of college, and like they just know you just know this shit, right? So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when you got a casual person or just anybody click on NCAA wrestling, they'll give you a little backstory. Oh, in high school he won freestyle worlds or whatever. It's like, who is he?
Yeah.
Who is
Right.
who is he? Okay, his name's whatever. Cool. What who is he? So
Yeah, you
I,
lose track of it. There's just so many names.
when you just see two people wrestling, there's nothing there. That's why, in my opinion, the reason and I grew up like a WWE fan back in the day. That's why the WWE and like is so successful because they generate that connection right with their
Yeah, it
performers.
develops.
And you have to have like a reason to care who wins and who loses, right? Like other than it's Penn State and Iowa, and I'm a Penn State fan, right? Like there's got to
Yeah.
be more depth to that, and I think that the how we're trying to build and approach this. I think that it could really open up a new like way into it and more intrigue for it. So that's what we're trying to do.
No, I agree with that. I've talked to a few people, like definitely higher ranking in like the world of wrestling, and a lot of them are telling me like they think the tournament format is kind of ruining the sport because even like you said, like you can't really develop one person when you have a 8 hour day of wrestling between 16 teams. You know, you got consees and finals run at the same time. Like, how do you develop a person's story? And then as a viewer, when you're going in, what are you watching? There's two guys on the mat. Which team are they? Oh, I don't even know those two teams. Like, okay, cool. And it's like the tournament format is kind of making the sport less personal, and it's more of like just like, okay, there's guys on TV. So I think I think you're right on that. I really wanted to go back to like this dual format where it's Penn State versus Iowa, and then you develop Spencer Lee, and he's like, well, Spencer Lee, you seen him, he's a Pokemon master since age 4, and
Yeah,
you start talking about him, and now people aren't only just invested in the teams. That's what made them click, but now they're like, oh, dude, this is my favorite guy. And he's kind
because
of
I'm relatable.
exactly. You have a reason to want to like him.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's they don't do promos right with like the sport of wrestling, right?
yeah,
And
no,
that's so important to catch casual viewers, right? Because can you imagine? Because the sport's pretty cool to watch when you understand what you're watching, right?
exactly.
So, but trying to get them to that point, and you're exactly right. I love where you said that. I'm Spencer Lee and I play Pokemon and I do this, and that's perfect, right? But like, imagine like like at this point, most casual people, if you ask them to name a folk style wrestler, I bet you they could. And if
No.
they did right now in current days, they would probably say Bo Bassett.
Yeah, it's gonna be someone who already has it made. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow's Bassett, like someone like that, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's why they have a lot of money. Because there's
Who,
people on the same level who don't have the same amount of money because they don't have the same amount of coverage.
yeah. And so it's really like I wouldn't even worry about college, right? College is fine. Leave college alone. But everything below college, there's got to be a way to, because even when you go to school, right? Like this is true. If you go to school and all you do is wrestle, nobody gets it unless they wrestle,
Yeah. It's like a
right?
cult.
Yeah, it's like a cult. That's a perfect word. It's like, you do what? I was like, yeah, man, I got wrestling practice. Man, that ain't shit. Why ain't you playing football? Why ain't you, dude? Come out here one day, you'll change your mind. Nah, dude, I ain't rolling around with some sweaty guy. That's their response most of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like having like an that's the word, investment in other than just parents in kids, right? And maybe that's a cool thing I thought about too when you're talking about the format. New Way, there's a guy named Art. You've probably seen him on Instagram. I've talked to him several times. Great guy. The Technique of the Week, Arson,
Yeah.
great dude, man. He runs New Way, right, and does all their tournament brackets and stuff and sets it up. And I
Mm-hmm.
had pitched to him once. What if we did a Mat Clash duel where each team is based on a character? So you'd have like Team Scrap, Team MB, Team JV, Team Hammer. And as we're feeding these backstories, people are knowing these characters. So
Mm-hmm.
the more people that know them, then you'd have something to root for. And I even told,
Yeah.
I actually interviewed Hewitt, the guy that owns Claw. You've seen the new
Small
Claw League.
wrestling. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, dude, I wish I'd have met you about a year and a half ago. And all these teams would have had their mascots and everything. We would have done this together. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great idea what he's doing, right? I think it's beautiful because I compare that to banana ball in baseball. You ever seen banana ball? Savannah Bananas? When you get
No.
look that up, dude, they got a huge following. They play baseball with like random rules. Okay, they even have like a pitching, like a dance bonus, and like all this crap. It's entertaining. It really is. It's awesome. And when you look at how Claw wrestles, like the pylon, where you can hit the pylon and get a point, and if you get a takedown within 10 seconds, you get a point, an extra point. So like they got it built almost like banana ball, right? Like it's a little different, and it's more fast paced, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a perfect thing for what we all want here.
Yeah.
But I also think you need that. I know you need some names, and they got some, but at the same time, I'm curious to see how they promote it, right? Like when they actually do the event, are they going to have these guys walk in, like, and even like Real American Freestyle, right? Like, how are they going to do it to where it catches the casual viewer,
Yeah.
right?
Give
Like,
them reason to win.
with Bo Nickel wrestling again, he'll pull some MMA people over, I think. Uh,
Hmm.
so like, there's always going to be kind of that connection, but like, we got to get more people invested into the sport, and I think it starts at the ground level with kids, and I think that's where we're going to kind of try to fill a niche. That's what we're trying to do.
No, I think you're right because um, just I done a little bit of research and I know wrestling has one of the highest like first time at like people joining. They have like the first or highest rate of first generation wrestlers, first college applicants, first. There's a lot of first in wrestling, right? But we also
Mhm.
have the highest or lowest retention rate of all the sports. I think besides like maybe one. But like what that means is we get a lot of kids who try it at some point in their life. You know, maybe 1 year as a little kid, 1 year in middle school, 1 year in high school. Then that's it, one and done. So I think if you give, I think everyone's chasing the model of like the like Iowa style, where you're like trying to compete for the gold, and if you don't get the gold, like you said, you're just kind of belittled and just like, oh well, you're not as good as Dan Gable. Why you come back? You know, I'm like, okay, well, no one is as good as Dan Gable. There's only one Dan Gable. So I like how you think a lot, where it's like, why do we want people in the sport? It's not necessarily to win, it's to kind of like develop yourself, make a team, have fun, you know, like all the things that like make a sport a sport. It's not a like yes, it's a lifestyle, but it's more than that. It's more of like I want to be a wrestler versus I want to become the best wrestler. It doesn't make sense, and it's like I think what you're doing is really good. I would almost compare it to like Harry Potter. You know how Harry Potter has a different houses. You have like Gryffindor
Yeah,
house, Hufflepuff, Slytherin.
yeah,
Everyone relates to them in a certain way, and it's like they have backstories. You have the movies. You have a reason to want to like them. So when you play a video game, you watch a movie, you know, you're low key voting for Slytherin in the Quidditch Cup. You have no reason to, but you want them to, you know. So I think that's a really good start. I want wrestling to grow, and if we don't have the people in the sport to grow it, then there's nothing to grow. You have to like to water the seeds while they're young. So you got to
and
get
and
people.
that was a great analogy because I've been as we've been kind of building out, the original idea and what it's becoming is a little bit different. The storyline,
Hmm.
actually, and you'll learn this as time goes on as we post and we keep building out. But the idea now is there's so many schools in this county, right? And we're focused on just this county. Now there's the whole United States, but in the storyline, there's this one county, and there's like 80 schools in this county.
Yeah.
And the top eight from every county across the country gets entered into the MAC Clash Nationals. So for the past, 10 years, Golden City hasn't had a wrestling program. So that's where the story picks up. Coach Cutter comes back. He was the star. Then you got all, and when you're talking about different houses, right, with like Harry Potter, then I had to start figuring out, well, what are these other schools, right? Like, I did, like you'll notice if you go back and watch, like I made Golden City South, right? That's where Hammer's at, right? And then I make
Hmm.
Smithton. Smithton's where Shadow and Zane show up. And then so I'm kind of building out these like you're gonna have your like basically use pro wrestling terms, your heels and your baby faces, right?
Yep.
So our baby faces are in Golden City and all these other schools are the bad guys, the heels, right? And and it's there's and what's cool about it, how it's kind of laying out. You're gonna have your challenges along the way that you have to overcome. That shows real life with the sport of wrestling, dude. Like just if you win today, don't mean if you beat them today, don't mean you're gonna beat them tomorrow, right? It doesn't matter who it
Yeah.
is, right? So like that's kind of like the story we just kind of told a little small short story about MB and Hammer. Like I've had that in my back pocket forever and the backstories he beat him all through youth and everything.
Hmm.
This is the first time he ever beat him. He got complacent while he kept working hard, and it shows the value of hard work. And so I can see that. That's a really cool. I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket, the Harry Potter analogy. So now that's got my wheels turning even more.
Definitely something to work off, dude. You're doing a lot of great things. I love it. Even your conversations, I'm thinking like there's a lot of things I really enjoy from your story, and I was like, man, that's such a good idea. It's like you're not just developing, like you said, a brand of like t-shirt, shorts, and things. You almost don't even want to do it, but you are because it helps. So I like the idea that you're giving. context to wrestling. You give them a reason to want to do it. You're giving them like a place to fit. You know, a lot of wrestlers are kind of like on their own in whatever way, emotionally, physically, whatever. So you're giving them a place to fit in. It's like, okay, it's okay that I'm like this. Other people are like this, and from there we can grow to what we want to be or we're going to achieve. So I'm
And
with you.
yeah, and I love that. I when we were having to fill holes and things like on our goal team, sometimes like this is new to us, but I had people asking, well, what about this kid, man? I don't know if he would be as good as this kid. And I'm like, I don't care. Does he want to wrestle? Let's do it. Whatever. Like I don't care. Like if he wants to do it, it's his, man. Go do it. So I don't want to. I seen one thing, and I won't name names, but I've told this story before, and I'll tell it one more time here for you.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fine. Go ahead.
I think this was the origin of how I feel about what I feel now. Now I will say this: I was a little hard on I was hard on Bryson coming up. I expected way too much out of him, and if I could go back in time, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish he'd have just wrestled the season, played baseball, whatever. If I could redo it, that's probably what I would have done. Now, but this is the origin I feel like that gave me my outlook. I was at VAC. You know VAC, the National Duels of Virginia Beach. They do it for kids
Yeah,
every
yeah,
year.
yeah,
We wrestled this team that I won't say, like, I don't want to name names or call them out, but um, it's one of those teams that are in the gold bowl in every youth duel every year, right? And we
yeah.
wrestled them tough. We didn't win, but one of our kids upset one of their kids, right? It was obviously an upset, right? You had like a third grader beat a sixth grader, right? So it was like, so in the middle of this, the coach on the other team is recruiting the kid, our kid, to wrestle for him that their next duel while his kid is, he just got beat.
Yeah, that's dude.
And I thought to myself, for one, that's toxic. That goes back to my toxic argument, right?
Mhm.
But I thought to myself, is anybody going to give two shits who won that match tomorrow?
Nope.
No. Or even an hour from now. Is anybody going to care? No. So I looked at it from the kid's perspective. And I was like, man, if I lost at something or I failed, and my coach, who I probably look up to, right, is a mentor in my life, is trying to replace me because I failed, you feel about this big, right?
Yeah.
And what's going to end up happening? That kid's probably going to, I don't know if he's still even wrestling. I don't know. But that's counterproductive to what we're trying to be as a culture. It's toxic. But I remember I wanted to flip everything about that and push that narrative once I seen that.
Mm.
And that's, here's the thing, dude. Am I competitive? We all are. But at the end of the day, you want to be the best human being you can be.
Yeah.
And you don't have to compare yourself to other people. And you don't have to impress other people. Like that's something I want to push to all kids that hear this. You don't have to impress other people. If you're happy with you, cool. If you know you're doing the best you can, that's all anybody can ask of you, right?
Yes.
This is my best right here. Okay. So your best is you got fifth at state. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome. You know? So that's my outlook. And I want to, like I said, I don't know where this goes long term. I keep hanging in there and hanging in there and hanging in there and keep trying.
It's
And
another season, right?
yeah, yeah. Like one thing that kind of sucks, I will say this. I feel like you have to keep doing this year round, right? You got to keep promoting and building and things like that. But there's a really short window that you gain people's attention, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
typically when it's in their forefront of their minds. We're wrestling right? You'll just see everything
Yeah.
kind of. And I think that there's got to be a way too, and that's why I feel like a series about wrestling, and it's not just about wrestling. It has its backstories, but the sport is what keeps all these characters together.
Mm-hmm.
But having that on the forefront would keep it in the conscience of everybody throughout the year. If there's a way to see something like that, especially kids,
Yeah.
man, like how TikTok is now and everything, they're scrolling, dude. It's just I'm telling you, if I was a kid and I've seen something like that, like scroll, which I didn't have that because I'm old, but when I was a kid, but like dude, if that was available, I'd stop and be like, dude, what is this? Mom, check this out. This is cool. Right. And then eventually I'd probably rent the VHS at Blockbuster. I'm in that era.
Yeah, dude, taking it back.
So, so I think that there's a lot of value here. I just, we're just maneuvering every day.
Hmm. Yeah, man, one day at a time, but everything I'm seeing, I'm loving, man. Keep it up. And I really appreciate this talk. I know you got to get your son to maybe the dance or something.
Oh, that was yesterday. That's why I rescheduled.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yeah, I was running behind, man. Yesterday was crazy. I'll tell you this, man. You have any kids yet?
Not yet. Maybe around the corner,
Just get a dog.
though.
If you keep a dog alive for like 5 years with no issues, you're probably all right.
Yeah, that's funny.
But
I got a dog. He's 10. He's 10 years old. So,
oh, you're ready, bro. You're ready.
sure, that's
Yes,
funny. But no, I really appreciate this. You gave me a lot to think on. You're just doing a lot of great things, and I'm happy the sport has someone like you. So I hope the best for you. And if I can ever, I'm gonna think through our conversation about ways I can help you. I'll reach out, and anything I can do to help your mission just grow, dude. I want to help you
yes,
guys for sure.
yes, sir. I'll when I get off here, I'll shoot you my phone number and you save it. We can just stay in contact, man.
Yeah, for sure. And side note, my dad, he's doing the Ironman in Chattanooga. I think next month, September. I'm gonna go out there and visit him. So I'll see what that timeline looks like. Maybe we can just like meet up for a coffee or something and keep this
Yeah,
conversation going.
I'd love that, dude. Yeah, where are you from?
I'm originally from Ohio, but I'm living in Texas.
Okay, yeah, my mom's family was from Ohio, dude. I don't like snow. That wouldn't do for me.
Me neither. That's
Yeah,
why I left. I remember my mom was telling me, when you coming back home? And I was like, what's the weather like right now? She's like, it's 20 degrees, but it's not that cold if you stay inside. And I was like, Mom, I'm walking around in shorts right now. I'm starting to sweat and I'm getting a tan. I'm not coming back. You can come visit me.
dude. Yeah, man. I grew up down here in the South, so like, my parents knew how to handle the snow,
Hmm.
but I had never seen. I actually didn't even see snow till I was like 11.
Oh shoot, yeah.
That's true. Like that was the first time. Like it snowed in like '93, but I was like really small, and we were actually out of town when it happened, so I still
Oh
didn't see it. So I was like 11, and I remember like being like, I don't like this. I can't go any like when I'd step, I'd sink. I was like, I don't like this shit, like
yeah.
so. And since then, I'm 37 now. So that was, I was 11, 20 something years ago. I think I've seen snow twice since. But I'm
Mm.
not a fan. Everybody down here freaks out and buys all the milk and bread and everything, and the world's gonna end. And hell with that, dude. I want like 70 degrees and sunny. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's what we want. That's what I came down here for. Ohio, you get, at least in Cleveland area, you get like 2 feet of snow on the sidewalk, and you
Yeah.
literally walk into school high knees over the snow, just
Are you a Browns fan?
all through and through.
Bro, I hope they keep Shadur just for the season. I,
I think they will. I think they
I,
will.
I think that the Browns are the most dysfunctional team in the NFL, like without a doubt. Like Manziel was a mess. They had
Oh,
Baker, who's a top 8
he was
quarterback,
amazing.
and he played hurt, and they freaking trade him, dude, because and they signed Deshaun Watson, who was a big mess. Had they just
Mm.
wrote it out with Baker, they'd probably made the playoffs several times. Like he's good, man. And
Yeah, we call it the Cleveland curse, man.
dude, I'm telling you, I think that it would be amazing if the turnaround, because they got a good defense. They've had a good defense for several years.
Yeah, we've always had that.
It would be amazing if their turnaround happens like this year or next year, and they did it with a first round pick, fell to the fifth, and he turns the franchise. Like
We can hope that what's going to happen is he's going to get hurt. He's going to want to move somewhere warm. He's going to go into jail. Something always happens, dude.
Oh man, I hope my mom's actually from Cleveland, Ohio originally. So like my aunt used to mail me like Cleveland Browns hoodies and stuff growing up, and I had a bunch of them, like hoodies and hats and whatever. And when Madden, I'm sure you've played Madden in your life, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
like when Madden, I think it was Madden 2001. I think that was the first time the Browns were back in the game where they had left and went to um, Baltimore, where they moved to become the Ravens. The original Browns were the Ravens, and then
Okay,
they
yeah,
weren't a team, and they brought them back as the expansion team, right? In like 2000, I think. So like 2001, they were the first time they were back in Madden. And I remember playing with the Browns with Tim Couch. He was the first pick of the renaissance of the Browns, and he was
yeah,
gonna set them on fire. God, they were bad, bad, bad.
yeah, yeah. I have fun and little joke I have with all my friends is like, talk about who you think's gonna win the Super Bowl, and I'd be like, the Browns. And they just look at me like, I was like, yeah, dude. If I say it every year, eventually I'll be right. Yeah.
Yeah, you may be on your deathbed, but yeah, you may be right.
It's funny because the my friend had a grandparent who passed away, and he got to see the Browns beat the the Steelers, beat the Steelers the year they won the Super Bowl. So that was like his going away present. It's like seeing that, dude. You just keep being consistent. Eventually, it'll happen.
Man, I was torn because I've always kind of leaned towards Cleveland with football, and I always like the Indians. I can't root for them anymore because they're the Guardians. I hate that, right?
Oh yes.
I hate that. Same thing with the Redskins in football. Like I hate the Washington Commanders or whatever the hell they are now. Football team they were for a year. Like,
Yeah.
but I will say this, man. I was kind of torn because I grew up during the Michael Vick era in Georgia. I was in North Georgia, so the Falcons, dude, were just like different, right? And dude, I seen Michael Vick play live in the Georgia Dome. Like I'd never seen an athlete like that in maybe any sport. Like, dude,
Mhm.
it was like just a Sunday afternoon game. They were playing the Vikings. It was pretty cool because Dante Culpepper was still there, Randy Moss was still there, and
Oh.
dude, it was cool to watch. Like I was like 8 rows back, like I could see it all. It was awesome, and
Mhm.
I watched Michael Vick juke like 9 people, right, and break the side. Like it was almost like you put him in a box and you were just trying to poke him, and you just couldn't touch it. It was insane. And he finally hit the
Mhm.
seam in the middle of the field. He was gone, and I was like, that's awesome. Now, granted, about three series later, he got hurt and I didn't see him anymore. But at the same time, that one play, it was so awesome to see.
Yeah, it's different.
So I remember the Falcons and the Browns playing when I was like that, I don't know, fifth, sixth, seventh grade. And
Mhm.
I was torn. I was just torn. I didn't know who to root for, right? I was like, I got roots here, but I'm from here. So I just kind of watched the game, and
Just enjoy it for what it is.
Atlanta like blew them out. I think that year they were down, and that was the year I think Atlanta went to the NFC Championship before Vic went to jail and all that. But
Yeah.
I was just reminiscing, man. I didn't know you were from Cleveland. Yeah, I got ties up there. My aunt still lives on like East 53rd Street or some shit up there. So,
Oh yeah. Yep.
but yeah, man, this has been great, dude. Keep doing what you're doing too. Let's stay in contact, and
For sure.
I will definitely text you as soon as we get off here, and we'll just stay in contact, man. And when you're in town, just text me. We'll meet up at Starbucks or something.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I appreciate it. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jesse.
absolutely, buddy.
I'll see you,
See you, man.
man.